She said that she will come, but she didn't say. She didn't send any message. We are expecting her.
Okay.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys in the assembled company, welcome to the World Storytelling Cafe, and it is that Saturday in the month when I sit back and say nothing and hand over to the wonderful hosts of Personal Story Swap. And today it is Selim. Selim, please take it away.
Thank you very much, John. Welcome, everyone. It's great to see you all here. Oh, Dejavi is also joining. I have seen the messages. Delighted to see you. This is the first personal story swap of 2026. And we have a fantastic lineup of storytellers. 6 storytellers will tell stories from their own lives today. And yeah, as usual, I just would like to remind you that we put the after the stories, we put the feedback into the chat. We don't do any introductions, and we silently clap. And yeah, and if you keep your video on, if you are able, that would be lovely, so we can see the cheer, all of us. Now, without further ado, I will give the word to Catherine.
Well, hello everybody. I'm taking off my glasses because they say the listeners should be able to see your eyes. So the story I'm going to tell happened a long time ago. Hang on.
Catherine, we can't see
Yeah.
you. Yes. Now a little bit more. You can. Yes, that's
There
great
we go.
now.
Right. When we were very small, my parents used to hire a house out in Rush, which is a tiny village on the sea just north of Dublin. And they used to hire it with my aunts and uncles, and we'd go along. And I had loads of people to play with because all my cousins were there. But when I was 7, my father got a new car. Well, I say new, it was new to him. It was his first car. It was ancient, but it was a car. And my parents decided that they were going to take us on holidays down to the west of Ireland, to Connemara, which is right on the Atlantic Ocean, because that's the place where they had met and had fallen in love. Well, they were very enthusiastic about it. I wasn't, because who was I going to play with? I'd only have my brothers, and they were boys. But there was nothing I could do about it, and the time came and we packed up the car, and there was so much stuff that my father put a roof rack on the car, and the baby's cot went on the roof rack, and loads of bags. And then, to my horror, my father tied the baby's potty on top for the whole world to see. Oh, but what could I do about it? We set off at the blistering pace of 25 miles an hour, with cars going ship, ship, ship past us. And we begged our daddy to drive a bit faster, but he said no, this was safe. And he was taking care of his family. So we proceeded in a very orderly direction across the country. And it was night time before we arrived in Galway. But the next morning, when we woke up in this guest house we were staying in, we discovered another family, the Reynoldses. And my mother happened to know Mrs. Reynolds because they had both trained as teachers in the same training college. But clearly, the Reynoldses were very wealthy, because Mr. Reynolds wore a beautiful suit and a lovely tie, and he had a gold tie pin with a diamond in it, and he had gold cufflinks with little tiny diamonds in the corners, and he had a gold ring. And Mrs. Reynolds wore a lovely dress with flowers all over it, and green high-heeled shoes, and a necklace and bracelets and rings, and dangly earrings, and I thought she looked like a film star. But when I said this to my mammy said, vulgar, vulgar. She was always vulgar. And it turned out that Mrs. Reynolds had always wanted to marry money, and that she had left teaching and married this fellow who owned a whole string of betting shops. Very vulgar, said my mother. But the thing that pleased me about them was that they had twin daughters who were the same age as me, so I had girls to play with, and we got on very well, and I was delighted. And on top of that, they had hired a local girl, Ellen, to look after the twins when the adults were away. And Mr. and Mrs. Reynolds were away a lot of the time. And they kept asking my mammy and daddy to go with them. And my mammy kept making excuses about, we have to take the children on a picnic, or we promised the children to bring them swimming. But one day, Mrs. Reynolds said, but look, at Ellen can look after the children. That's no problem. And my mammy said, oh, but what about the baby? And Mrs. Reynolds said, we'll take the baby with us. So all the adults and the baby went off for the day, and we were left with Ellen. And Ellen made a picnic to bring off with us and told us she was going to take us to the secret lake. And we went way, way, way down the road and then up this little boreen, this little lane. And eventually we arrived at the lake. And it was a lovely lake. And there was a tiny little beach, and there was a whole lot of rocks that would be great to play on. So we sat on the beach and we had our picnic. And next thing, a man appeared. And he was very tall and very ruddy. And he had like an explosion of black curls on his head. And Ellen introduced him as Marcin. And Marcin was her boyfriend. And Marcin looked at us kids and said, are you going to play on the rocks? And we said, yes, we were. And he said, well, be careful, the lake is very deep. So Marcin and Ellen went off to the other end of the beach, and they sat behind a rock. And we went off to play on the other rocks, and we were running around having a grand time. And next thing, my brother John said, oh, look here, look here. And he called us over. And there was this rock that went down at a really sharp angle into the water. And he said, I bet I can run across that and not fall in. And I said, oh, no, don't, that's dangerous. And he ran across and he didn't fall in. And he ran back and he didn't fall in. And he dared us to run across. And we were a bit afraid. But eventually we ran across and didn't fall in. So we spent the next half hour or so running forward and back over this rock. But the inevitable happened. And I slipped and I fell into the lake. And it was deep, and I went right down the whole way underneath and came up again, and I tried to grab the rock, but there was only one little bit that you could grab onto, and the rest of it was very slippy, and they were all telling me how to get out of the water, but I wasn't able to. I kept slipping all the time. And then we started shouting, help, 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 help. But Ellen and Marcin didn't hear us. And one of the twins ran over and told them that I had fallen into the water. And then she came back and said, oh, but they're canoodling. They didn't hear what I was saying. And then one of the twins said, if you go down 3 times, you'll drown. So I was now terrified and I was cold because I couldn't swim. And then the twins tried to pull me out and they couldn't. And then my brother John tried to pull me out and he fell in. And he was able to get out again. And he kept telling me how to get out, but I wasn't able to do it. And we kept shouting and shouting and shouting for help. And eventually the 2 twins went over and told Ellen and Marcin and came back and said, they'll be over in a minute. Well, it was the longest minute I ever lived in my life. But eventually Marcin came over and he stood on the rock and he said, I told you not to play on the rock. I told you the lake was deep. And he started giving out to me. And I was there frozen and terrified. And eventually he took my hand and he pulled me out. And we went home and I was dripping wet. And at this stage, the adults had returned and my mammy was horrified. And she brought me upstairs and she got me out of the wet clothes and she wrapped me up in hot blankets and she got me a hot water bottle and she looked after me. And the next morning I was right as rain. But somehow my mammy had got the notion that Martin was a hero and that we should go and I should thank him for saving my life. But I didn't think he was a hero. I thought he was very awful to leave me there for so long. And I didn't want to thank him, but I was taken off, and my parents and myself went off in the car, and we came to Martin's house. And Martin's mammy was there, and she was feeding the chickens outside the house. And the adults went in, and the adults were all talking away, but adults are always very boring. So I stayed outside and looked at the chickens. And then they called me in, and Martin's mammy said to me, "Oh, poor Martin, he's very sick. He got a very bad cold as a result of saving your life yesterday." I was thinking, how could that happen? I was the one that got wet. I was the one that went under the water. He didn't get his toe wet. And it took him an awful long time to pull me out. But anyway, I was brought into the bedroom, and it was one of those old-fashioned beds, with little brass bars at the bottom and at the top. And I was looking through the bars at Martin, and he was cocked up in the bed with a whole lot of pillows behind him. And his mammy gave him a cup of tea in a china cup with a rose on it. And I resented that cup, and I resented that tea, and I resented him. And I just glared at him through the bars. And he was grinning at me. And I thought there was something wrong, something peculiar about it. And my mammy said I was to thank him, but I didn't say anything. I just said nothing. I just glared at him through the bars. And then my daddy asked me to say thank you, and I didn't. And then Martin's mammy asked me to thank him, and I just refused. I just would not say anything. I just glared at him and glared at him and glared at him, and he grinned, his peculiar grin. And then Martin's mammy said, "Oh, well, she's probably very shy," which is not something anybody has ever said about me before or since. But it was a fine excuse. And my mammy and daddy walked me out to the car in silence, and we drove off in silence. And then my daddy pulled the car into the side of the road and stopped. And I thought, oh, I'm in serious trouble now. But my parents turned round and my mammy said, "Oh, Catherine, we're very sorry. We shouldn't have made you do that. That was the wrong thing to do because that wasn't Martin. Martin was out working the land. That was his twin brother." Yes, I was right. I knew there was something wrong. So I felt totally validated. But after that, I learned to swim.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for this lovely story. I forgot to mention about our time limit. When you were under 10 minutes, and that's really great. Thank you, Catherine. But for the coming tellers now, if you will go more than 8 minutes, then I will do some movements, and so you will understand that you need to wrap up. Yeah, it is. Thank you. And since then, your relationship with water has been much better, I hope, Catherine.
Yes. Well, since I learned to swim, I love water. I love it.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you so much. And now we will move to Rona.
Thank you, Sana. I've decided not to tell the story that I was going to tell because something happened to me just in the last week that literally changed my outlook on life. And I want to share that with you, if I may. I was reading about, and I haven't been reading very much lately, but I suddenly had a notion to read about World War II because there's lots of good stories in there. And this brought me to reading about some young soldiers in World War II. They were a group of 4 that had melded together. They were like brothers in arms. At this point, the war had been raging for 2 years, and these boys had become so close, and they swore allegiance to each other, that if anything happened to one, the others would make sure that everything went okay for their families and everything else. And inevitably, as that war went on, it carried on for another 3 months, actually. One of them was killed. His name was Francis. And the other 3 were devastated because he was also the youngest. He was only 21. One good thing is, if you could call it a good thing, he didn't have a family. He hadn't yet got to the stage where he would be married and have children. Whereas the other 3 did have wives and children, so perhaps it was a small blessing in disguise. Well, distraught is too fine a word for it, I have to tell you, because the one thing that they didn't want to do was leave him lying there on that battlefield where all the other young soldiers had been left, young and older. No, that wouldn't do for Francis. They wanted him to have a burial, a proper burial. And one of them remembered that he had seen a church not that far away back the way they had come. And they decided to make a homemade stretcher, and they carried him to that churchyard at a time when the fighting had died down a bit. And when they got to the church, they saw this graveyard, which was all neat and beautifully looked after, and they thought, this is the place for Francis. And they spoke to the priest, and the priest, was very sorry what had happened to their young colleague, their brother in arms. And he said, but before I bury Francis here, I have to know, was he religious? Because this is consecrated ground. Consecrated ground. And the 3 looked at each other. They hadn't a clue. Believe it or not, during all of that time when they were fighting in a war, when any day any one of them could have died, they had never discussed the problem of what happens after you die. So they had no idea. And the priest said, well, I'm so sorry. I cannot bury your young man, your Francis, in this ground. But what you can do is over there, and he pointed to where there was a very beautiful tree. And he said, at the side of the fence there, as close to the fence as you can get, I think you could bury Francis there. That will be fine. They weren't happy, but there wasn't a lot else they could do. They couldn't take him off somewhere else to bury him. Where, So they did. They buried him there, and they made a makeshift cross, put his name on it, the date that he had been born, the day he died. And with very, very heavy hearts, they left. And they made a promise to each other that when the war ended, soon after, they would come back and visit and pay homage to Francis. So it went on so. And that year passed after the war had ended, and they decided to go back and see where Francis was buried and pay homage to him. I won't bore you with the details of their journey, but it was quite an excruciating journey. And by the time they got there, they were exhausted, they were ill-tempered, they were just fed up. But they wanted to see Francis's grave. So you can imagine when they couldn't find it, they were apoplectic. Where could it possibly be? It can't have shifted. You can't move a grave. The tree was there, the fence was there. It was at that spot, which was absolutely beautiful. The view beyond it was stunning. Where was Francis? So they went to the priest and said, before you say anything, I know why you're here. I know why you've come looking for me, because you couldn't find Francis. He says, well, Francis is almost exactly where you left him. And if we go back, and I'll show you. And when they got back to where the tree was, the priest pointed out that the fence had been moved 4 feet the other way. He said, when you left, I couldn't even think straight. My mind was in turmoil. What had I done? I had excluded a young soldier from being buried in this ground because it was consecrated. Well, I couldn't live with myself. And then I got the workmen to move that fence. Take Francis's coffin bad out. They had made a makeshift coffin for him, and they took that out and they moved it, and they moved the fence. When I heard that story, it had such an impact on me that I haven't been able to sleep properly since. And that was over a week ago. Look at those eyes, I'm not lying. And I thought, what are we doing? What are any of us doing to move the fences? We have to do. We have to move fences all over the world so that things like that don't ever happen again.
Lovely.
Thank you, Rona. So moving. Mm. Mm. Thank you for sharing this story with us. Mm.
I would like everybody else to share it, please.
Mm. Yes, so it continues to live and spread. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Mm. Yeah, sometimes I believe that words are not enough to reflect. Just silence. May your wish come true, so we will be without fences all around in the world. That's move the fences. That would be my take from this story. Put it into my heart. Thank you, Rona. And now let's move to
Sorry, just a moment.
Harry.
Catherine, can you mute your sound?
Oh, it's coming from Catherine. Sorry, I thought that. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you so much. I was wondering where this is coming.
It was when she was typing, and you could hear it, but Rona wasn't typing. That's what gave it away.
I was wondering it's coming from Rona, but then I looked, she's muted now, and the sound is still coming. Yeah. Okay, great. So let's move to another story, to another part of the world. Renu, Renu, are you with us?
Yes,
And
yes, Sana.
yeah, please welcome and
Thank you, Sanam. Let me just jump into my story. My husband was a captain in the Merchant Navy, and every time he left to join the ship, my heart would sink and I would be in tears. But every time he came back, it was time to celebrate. But the time at home was very short, just a couple of months. And soon the scene would start again. My heart would sink and I would be in tears. But in June 1997, when the company called him and asked him to fly to Shanghai to take over a new ship, I was happy. Because this time he told me that I would be joining him on the ship. This would be my third time and I was really looking forward to it. June came and went, July came and went, August came and went, and there was no news from him that I would be joining him. And every time he called, I asked him, what is happening? And he would say, the ship is not ready yet. Finally, in September, I told him, listen, I really want to join you, and this time I would be taking our daughter along. She was just 3 years old at that time. So one day he called me and said, listen, I think you should just come and join me. We are still in the hotel and it'll probably take another 2 weeks for us to take delivery of the ship. I said, okay. And so there I was, very excited, packing all my stuff for my daughter, for myself, and we flew to Shanghai. The first week we were in the hotel, and mornings my husband would leave for the yard and come back at around 5 in the evening. So the whole day my daughter and I had time. So we would hire a taxi and go out, exploring Shanghai. Of course, I didn't know the language, so it was a little difficult getting about, but still, my daughter was very excited. She picked up Chinese so quickly, and every time I would say, we need to go back to the hotel, she would say, Hong Chao Pinghua, which meant Rainbow Hotel where we stayed. Then the second week, my husband said the ship is ready, so I think we can move to the ship. So we moved. The ship was brand new, and he had about 3 cabins assigned to him. The office, the living area, and a small bedroom. So we moved in, and the first week on board was fine because we were not sailing. Soon after that, we sailed, and the first port was Vancouver, which was a journey, a long voyage, about 15 days to reach via the Pacific. The first week was really good. I was enjoying myself. The water was calm, and I would go out on deck every single morning. The chief engineer was very kind. He put up a swing on the deck for my daughter, and I would take her up and swing her up and down, and she was having a good time too. And we were really lucky. None of us were seasick. Well, time went by, and I thought, wow, already 1 week is up. Another 1 week, we'll be back on land. But the very next day, a storm hit us. Initially, it was not so bad, but soon as the days went by, it became worse and worse and worse. The ship was either pitching, which meant up and down like this, or rocking like this, rolling. And we had to be really, really careful. And for me, the toughest part was I had to take care of my child all the time. Now, most of the time, my husband was on the bridge. Since it was a new ship and it had been built in China, there were a lot of issues with the ship. Many of the instruments on the bridge stopped working. Down in the engine room, there were issues too. So my husband was literally on his feet all the time, day and night. So I was mostly alone in the cabin. Now one night, I went to bed. My daughter was inside near the bulkhead and I was lying on the outer edge. There was a safe in the cabin. Normally the captain's cabin would have the safe where you normally kept all the valuables, the money. Of course, people don't use that safe. Now this safe had not been lashed. Everything on the ship is normally lashed in such a way that no matter how badly the ship rocks, nothing moves out of place. But this safe had been overlooked by the people who had built the ship. That night, the ship was pitching so badly that the safe, which was really heavy, started rocking and moving. And through the dim light coming in from the cabin, the family area, I could see the thing was shaking. I had not been sleeping because the ship was rolling so much. I had to keep an arm over my daughter to see that she doesn't come flying out. And then I saw this safe begin to move. And it slowly started to move, and then it started gathering pace and started coming faster and faster and faster towards me, the bed. I just closed my eyes and I thought, oh my God, save us. There was nothing I could do. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't pick up my daughter. The ship was rolling so much. And there it was. Ta-dam! It hit the bed with such force. I thought for sure the bed is going to break and it's going to hit us. But it didn't. And then it started moving back again. And I thought, my God, this is it. This time the bed is just going to break in half and it's going to hit me and my baby. But somehow, maybe it was a miracle. Maybe my prayers were heard. It didn't hit the bed. And we were safe. The next morning when my husband came down to the cabin and saw the safe, he was so furious. He said, what have these people done? Immediately he called some guys down. They picked up the safe, took it away and put it up on the deck and lashed it. So that was a very exciting time for me. to recall at least. At that time, it was horrific, a nightmare. And my husband later told me that over all the years that he had been sailing, perhaps for about 30 years, he had never experienced such a horrible storm. So for me now, it's a story that I like to share. It was an exciting time looking back. The rest of the voyage was smooth sailing. We reached Vancouver in one piece, and all the repairs to the ship were carried out at that port. So that's my story. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Renu, for sharing. And the sounds at the dogs barking at the end, that made it more terrifying. You know, the story was terrifying anyway, but it really added to the emotion for me. Like I was like, oh, what's going on? And I mean, seeing you telling this story, I kind of knew that you passed that experience, but yeah, it has been a tough one.
Yeah, it was. I'm sorry my dogs are barking because my husband just got back home.
No worries. Like, you know, it is, as I said, it added another flavor to the story.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. So now let's move to Dawn. Are you ready, Dawn?
I am ready, and just interested, you were saying that it was lovely having the dogs in the background, because I've got a dog here, and as soon as he heard the dogs barking in the background, he started off as well, so I've just been calming him down here. Hopefully he'll stay calm for the story. Anyway, I have a story for you from my past, and it's 35 years ago. And for 8 hours, my whole body has been jolted so violently that it feels like my teeth are going to fall out. I can no longer feel my backside, and nor can I remember who I am or why on earth I'm doing this. Why am I in the back of a military jeep with no suspension and just 2 metal benches in the back for me to sit on? Why have I spent hours and hours inching and lurching up this ravine, which was just strewn with boulders? It's actually a dry riverbed, and this is the only road into the outpost high up on the border between Laos and Vietnam. And what I've done is I've cadged a lift from some NGOs who are going there, and I'm off to do some research for my book on Laos, on the culture, the textiles, and the architecture there. And actually, Laos had been closed for pretty much 25 years, especially close to the West, ever since 1975, when the communist regime had taken over. And I was really only allowed in as a bona fide researcher. So here I was. Now, after a 14-hour drive up that, well, I call it a drive, up that dried up riverbed, we finally arrived in Sam Nur, this little outpost. And the NGOs dropped me off in front of the government guest house, which was the only place you could stay, and I was on my own. Well, as soon as I made it into my small basic room, I saw one thing, and that was that there was no inside lock on the door. Now, I knew the routine. I'd been here before, or in this situation before, so I quickly barricaded myself in as best I could. And then once I was sure that even if somebody did manage to get in, it would make such a racket that it would wake everybody in the whole house, then I allowed myself to go to bed, and I pulled the thin coverlet over myself and fell asleep. And the following morning, I walked through the small marketplace where women were sort of selling 1 onion, a couple of eggs, and there were men with poles over their shoulder with animals dangling from it for sale. And they weren't the chickens that you normally see. These animals were rats. And I made it across town to the post office, and I stood in line so that I could send a fax home. So this is 1990. There are no emails, there are no mobile phones, and frankly, if there had been any mobile phones, there would have been no network either. And so I waited to send my fax in this queue. And after a while, there was a commotion by the door, and a group of men came in. And I could see there was something different about these men. And for a moment, I couldn't work out what it was. And then I saw they weren't the sort of, weather-beaten rice farmers of the area. These men, that was what it was. Some of them were wearing spectacles, and spectacles were a sign of being an intellectual. And I caught the eye of one of them, and then shortly after that, they were hurried out of the post office. Well, now that evening, I had done my usual barricading activities and was just wondering where on earth I could get a wash before bed. And I heard something, and there was somebody outside the door. I could hear a slight shuffling, and my heart was pounding by this stage. And then there was a knock at the door, a gentle knock, and I just kept completely quiet and still. And then this voice, Madame, vous êtes anglaise? Est-ce que je peux vous parler? Anyway, it was a gentle voice, and I opened the door. And there he was. It was the man whose eye I'd caught in the post office. And he came past me and immediately went and stood the other side of the room respectfully until I asked him to sit down. And he told me his story. He was a man in his 50s with a sort of worn, gentle face and thin brown hair and these gold-rimmed spectacles. And his name was Humpan, and he'd been a writer under the old royal regime. And when the communists came to power in 1975, he'd been arrested. And he'd been in a re-education camp on the outskirts of this little town, Samnur, for 25 years. And I said to him, how did you get out? How did you manage to come here tonight? And he said, Madame, they are not so strict anymore, he said. And anyway, where would I go? How would I get away? Well, he begged me to take some papers that he had, his documentation. He said, please take it to PEN. And PEN is the writers' organization that protects imprisoned writers internationally. Take it to PEN in London, Madame, he said, and they will know what to do. And then he turned to leave. And even as he was leaving, I was composing my double-page spread in the Observer. Intrepid young writer meets the last political prisoner in the last re-education camp in Laos. And then Humpan turned back to me as he disappeared into the night, and he said, Madame, please don't tell anyone, not a word. It's too dangerous. And he was gone. Well, several months later, I found myself back in London, and I did keep my word. I found the headquarters of PEN, and I took his documents and handed them over. And they said they would do what they could to look after him and to get him out. And so I left him in their hands, and I got on with finishing my own book. Well, publication date came, and publication date went, and there was nothing except a package which plopped through my door one day. And inside it, there was a letter from my publisher who said that he'd lost all his money. He no longer had enough money to publish my book, let alone distribute it. And here it was. And this was instead of a colorful hardback book, this was like a little black and white, flimsy paperback with just text in it that looked like it might have been able to have been done on a photocopier. No pictures inside. And I read down, he'd lost my slides. He'd lost my precious, original, irreplaceable slides in the move, and that's why there were no pictures. Well, as the realization settled on me pretty fast, 4 years of exploration and painstaking research to make this book had vanished just in one stroke. And I could see my vision of being an emerging, exciting young writer disappearing into the sand like the water does, when the tide goes out. So I packed absolutely everything to do with Laos into a box, all the notebooks, all the remaining slides, everything into a box. And I put it, as I always do, I put it at the back of my storage unit, and I moved on and I put it out of my mind. Well, reel forward 35 years, and Tom, my husband, and I have to leave our home and go on the road. And this means a radical rethink and a declutter so that we could be lighter on our feet. And I needed to handle that storage unit. So I went in. And I could generally manage about 15 minutes before having to run out, kind of gasping for breath. Yes, 8 minutes, thank you. I'm on time. Thank you. It was like there was a tidal system in there, and an ebb and flow inside the storage unit, and every so often a piece of flotsam of my past lives, my failed past lives, would be thrown up onto the tide line and cause me yet another pang as I looked round at the creative projects that had been abandoned and all my past lives that had failed. And then one day I spotted it. Right at the back of the storage unit, a dilapidated cardboard box with Laos on it in black felt tip. And I opened it up, and there were the slides, not my lost ones, but the other slides. And as I held each little one up to the light, the tiny image of myself 35 years ago, and all those little pictures I'd taken with my analog film camera and captured, and my notebooks. And I opened one notebook, and an unopened envelope fell out. I slit open that envelope, and there was the logo of PEN, the Writers' Association. And this was the letter that I'd never read before. Dear Miss Ellis, we wanted to let you know that Humpan has been safely taken out of Laos, and he's now back in Paris, living with what remains of his family. And he wanted us to let you know especially how heartfelt, how thankful he is for what you did for him. And as I read that, the tears began to spring from my eyes like a cartoon character. And all the weight of the shame and the regret and the frustration began to fall off me. And I looked around my storage unit, and I no longer saw abandoned creative projects and failure after failure. I saw instead wealth. I saw richness and experience that was hard won, and a life that actually been pretty well lived. And so the following day, I opened up my laptop and I began to write. And to date, I have written, coincidentally, 35,000 words and counting. So you see, it is not too late.
Dawn, oh, such an epic story. Like my heart goes to you. Thank you so much for sharing it. Thank you so much for sharing it with such a delight and with also tenderness. So I mean, thank you, really. I was saying, oh, this will be a thriller theme, but then it shifted all of a sudden. Oh, fantastic. Thank you. And how are you feeling now after telling? Because I know that this is, telling personal stories is not something that you have practiced much, that you told me before.
No, it was a really good discipline to do it, and I feel very pleased that I've told it. And, that I had real fun structuring it and, leaving lots of stuff out. So thanks for the opportunity.
Oh, thank you, Dawn, for sharing it, and for giving yourself also the opportunity to craft it.
Thank you.
Well done. Yeah. Okay, now let's move to another teller. Debjani, are you ready? I haven't seen Debjani since we started. And here you are. Hello. How are you?
I'm fine,
Great.
and hope you all are understanding
Yeah,
that
you're
I'm a great intellectual, because just now Dawn said intellectuals wear glasses.
fantastic. You are a little bit blur, but it is, I think that's okay. No, glasses. Take your glasses, please. Put your glasses so you're intellectual. We
Yeah,
like to
no,
see
that's okay.
you.
Just between us, I'm pseudo intellectual.
Cool.
Okay. All right. So, hello everyone. Wonderful here listening to all of you. So, just that I forgot what I have to say. Anyways, so getting into my story quickly. Water. When I heard that word water, should I say yes and volunteer? Do I have anything to do with water? That was the first voice or first something that came from within. And then when I just retraced my steps, I saw, I could visualize huge river Ganges. All of you who have been to India and all of you who are from India, you know, we consider river Ganges as holy river Ganga. So my hometown is just beside holy river Ganga, and right on the bank of it rises the huge, can you hear me? Am I audible? Okay, thank you. So, yeah, right on the bank of that holy river Ganga, there rises a beautiful, massive temple of goddess Kali Mother. So I remembered holding my father's finger. I used to visit that temple. And every time I used to go there, and both the rows, both the sides actually of the road were lined with stalls and bursting with colors, fragrances, and the yummy sweets displayed over there. These are all for goddess, but somehow I felt so fulfilling from inside. And the air used to resonate with the chanting, Om Gangaye Namaha. Up to this was everything fine. But later, what I used to see, terrifying. People going down and taking dip into the river Ganges, standing up to, chest deep, and then chanting, and then swimming. So right then, I clung to my father and said, no, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to let you go. We will drown. We will drown. We won't let you go. And used to scream and yell, please. So that was really terrifying. Well, few years passed. Cut to, I was now with my parents because my father got transferred. So with them, I too moved to a small town in Nepal, a town called Hethora, which was cradled with green mountains. And then I visited that place. I found it was woven into that landscape was a beautiful, swift, flowing, bubbling, lots of current. What? Any guesses? A river. And I could see, it was very transparent, right? I could see the river bed and stones and pebbles of different shapes and sizes, shining, shimmering. And I looked here and there. People were all enjoying. Somehow something attracted and drawn me towards it. So I sat on a boulder and a little sheepishly, I just dipped my legs onto that knee-deep water of that river. Immediately, I felt so refreshing, cold, refreshing, and something very exciting. So my legs started dangling, swinging, swaying, and water droplets were, just sprinkling and splashing all around. Some droplets were falling on my faces also, and I was enjoying. And later I realized the terrifying feelings that I got from the holy Ganges was finally I received a cathartic release here by seeing that river Rapti in Nepal. So swift flowing, small river, short river, but beautiful, enjoyable river. Years passed, years just passed over the slope of time. And one night, this inscrutable time unleashed a merciless storm which engulfed all of a sudden my mother. Yes, my mother left us all of a sudden forever. When I visited my hometown to do the final rites, I now pleaded my father, Baba, please come with me. Come with me to Chennai. Well, I live in the southern part of India. My parents were in the eastern part. So I said, Baba, please come with me to Chennai because I can't be at peace if you are here. No, not at all. Being a strong devotee, I have read that if you pass away, if you breathe your last breath by the side of River Ganga, there is a chance to have liberation, to attain moksha. All my reasons, my logic, my requests, my tears fell on his deaf ears. And he didn't budge. Time, when it is inscrutable, merciless, it works very swiftly. So just a few months, it engulfed my father too. And Baba left us forever. I flew back immediately to my town and did all the final rites of my father being the single child. After that, I received the pot, the earthen pot full of ashes, the mortal remains of my Baba, my father's body. And then, seeing neither left nor right, without anything in my heart, just focusing on that pot, my legs went forward, 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 down the ramp, down to the river Ganga. I stepped down, further down, where I was also now almost knee deep into the river Ganga. The earthen pot I held tightly close to me, and then I overturned it. All the ashes I saw falling slowly into the river, and I could see them just immersing into it. Along with the pots, the ashes also immersed, and I took dip 3 times into that river. The river which was once so terrifying, that particular night, it gave me solace that somewhere up there, I could fulfill the last wish of my father. Oh, Gangaye Namaha. That was my story, my remembrance of it.
Thank you, Devjani. May they be in light, in peace. And thank you for sharing your transformational relationship with water. And I hope you will also swim one day.
Yeah, that's That's my goal, ultimate goal.
That's another step, another step. But thank you so much.
Mm.
Very moving. Mm.
Thank you so much for allowing me.
And now we move to our last, but not least, the wonderful Niharika, who set all this community and the space for us, who initiated personal story swaps. And I'm looking forward to hearing her story. Niharika, are you ready?
I am ready, Sanam. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes.
Thank
All
you.
right.
I have to say I've gotten a little bit conscious now after hearing all of today's stories. So beautiful. I'm stepping in last minute, and this is a new story that I want to try out for the very first time. So if any of you have feedback, I would love to hear. Just ping me after the show. I'd love to hear it. Bodies of water. I love looking at the ocean. I love being at the beach, but I'm best when I'm ankle deep. I don't know how to swim, just like Catherine. That is just a skill I have attempted, but never succeeded at. I can go knee deep, and that's fun when the waves hit me, but waist deep, that's too deep. I start to get anxious about not feeling the ground underneath me anymore. My breathing starts to get deeper and deeper. And no matter how much my friends try to pull me towards the deeper end, I just blankly refuse. There's no amount of social pressure can take me deeper into the water. I mean, I just think the ocean is a dangerous place. It is a scary place. But then there's this friend of mine who keeps telling me, no, the ocean is the most beautiful space. You cannot even imagine the kind of creatures that exist under the surface of the sea. I mean, there are gentle giants like the whales that will just troll past you. There are schools of fishes that are going to dance around you. There are all these creatures that are going to camouflage to the coral. There'll be so many colors that you've never seen before. So I started seeing YouTube videos of underwater stuff. And I realized he was right. There is a whole world underwater that I haven't seen. It's fascinating. Yes, I can't swim, so that's a problem. But I got too excited that I want to see it. I really do want to experience that. I also researched that scuba diving is a beginner-friendly sport. It is an adventure, but it's an approachable adventure. So I was like, okay, I can do that. I went on a trip with my sister to Thailand, and we did something called Discover Scuba, which is actually like a tandem scuba. There'll be a dive instructor with you as you go into the water, and the dive instructor is attached to you. So the dive instructor is doing everything. You don't need to worry about anything. You just need to enjoy your surroundings. So I signed us up, both of us, for it, still not knowing how to swim, but hoping that it will work out somehow. But I go there, I'm filling the form, and then the disclaimer on the form says you have to be able to swim 200 meters in water, in open water. And obviously, I can't even go 20-meter deep, like that's not happening. So I thought in this scenario, I should be honest. I should just let the instructor know that I don't fulfill this requirement, see what happens. So I tell him, like, I don't know how to swim. He looks at me and he says, have you paid? And I said, yes. He's like, then it's okay. I thought, what does that mean? Like, just because I've paid, he's now going to take me deep into the ocean and put my life at risk? Well, what's going on? He said, don't worry, you're going to have a vest. It's called a buoyancy control device. You can pump air into the vest and it serves as a life vest. You're going to be completely safe. And he wasn't wrong. My sister and I, we did the dive, and the minute we descended into the water, like everything on the water, on the surface is waves, is rocky, but the minute I descended into the water, it was like quiet. All of those anxious noises in my voice just went completely silent. And I went in, and I could just, as I'm thinking, I could see the colors explode in front of my eyes. My sister and I were sticking together. We were both still a little scared, and we started following this pair of fish, these little fish. There were two blue fishes that were kind of like zigzagging around each other like butterflies. And both of us just started swimming to follow the fish. And our dive instructor, I could see, because you can't communicate underwater. There are signals like this is a signal to go up, this is a signal to go down. This is a signal that everything is okay. But how do I say that, look, there is a really nice fish. You got to see that. Let's follow the fish. So both of us were just, our expressions through our goggles were like this. It was such a beautiful thing, and it's such a beautiful thing to do with my sister. The minute the experience ended and we surfaced, I made a resolution. That's it. I'm going to learn how to swim. I'm going to get a scuba diving certificate, and I'm going to make this my thing. I'm going to be diving more and more. But I did end up learning swimming. I did end up getting my diving certificate, but it's been 2 years since I went diving. So my resolution for 2026 is to at least go on one diving trip. You guys can hold me accountable and make sure that I make that happen for myself. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic, Niharika. I really wish to, I really wish also to do the scuba diving. Haven't done it yet, but after this story, I want more and more.
It's such a beautiful space down there. I really.
And really good on you. Such a brave thing that you take yourself out of your comfort zone and just do it. Although you didn't feel comfortable in swimming, it's fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We came to the end of our session. And I hope you all enjoyed the stories. I enjoyed all of them. From where this sound comes, I don't know, but it's all right. Yes, Catherine is saying water is definitely transforming. I agree. Today the theme was bodies of water, but we also heard different stories, and they were all lovely. And thank you so much for sharing and also for listening. Our session has officially finished, but before I forgot to say, the next swap will be on the 21st of February. I will send the details into the groups, and I don't have any idea about the team. I would be happy if you have suggestions. That would be nice to hear, and we can have a chat after we finish the session officially.
Well, thank you all very much. It's been a fantastic session. It's great having these monthly sessions on the cafe, and brilliant. What have we got coming up in the cafe? Well, next Friday, Mike Rust and Avita are doing the children's session at 6 o'clock UK time, and on the Sunday it's our worldwide story round. But more important for a lot of people here is, if you've got any young tellers, the first Saturday of every month at 10 o'clock in the morning UK time, and I've done that so people around Hong Kong and India, and it's a much easier time for them. We have our Young International tellers story round. So anyone who's got any young tellers that would like to be part of that. At the moment, we've got Alicia's sending people from Singapore, from Korea, quite a lot at the moment, and then and we've got people from several countries coming on. But the more countries, the better. And we're building a real. This way that you've become a community is building a real worldwide community of young international tellers and cross-country conversations. So if you can encourage people to
John,
that,
what do you mean with young?
well, most of them are children at the moment. So, but under 20, I suppose we've got people from 8 years old on. So
Okay, great. Between
8 to
12.
20, I suppose. So when we did it before, we've had a long gap. We've just been going for another couple of months, and people came on every week, every month, and they're now tellers in their own right. So they're doing their own programs. So, but just encourage anyone. Be fantastic. And I got to congratulate you on this session. It's one of the best sessions we have in the program. You've done a fantastic job. Lovely. Thank you
so
very
much. And thank you to the World Storytelling Cafe and yourselves to providing the space and the community. It has been great. We have doing this now almost 1 year, and yeah, we hope to continue. We are loving it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And of course, Waleed for flying the magic carpet, as always. I sat with him at the beginning of this one, and he's fighting all sorts of gremlins and genes to keep it going.
Thank you, Waleed.
We've had rain here in Morocco, and that kept knocking out the internet and stuff. And Waleed valiantly runs around pressing buttons to get it all going.
Great. If anyone else also have announcements, this is the time to do it. Or then we can officially finish the...
Devjani has something.
Yes.
Well, my announcement is, can we have a photo? It's not an announcement, it's a request.
I've taken a lot of screenshots with all of us as well. So we have photos.
Okay.
Thank you, Devjani.
There's always somebody who does it.
Another, which is actually okay. So another, which is a real announcement, is our Chennai Storytelling Festival is beginning from the first weekend of Feb, and this year it is going to continue till March, mid of March or so. So it's free for participation, and if you have, to be there and listen to the stories or take part in the workshop, only you have to do is write an email to Eric. Okay. If you want, I'll put in the group Eric's email ID.
And would you also please write it into the chat so people also can look from there?
Do you? Yes.
Thank you, Devjani.
Yeah. I
We can put it in the WhatsApp chat, Devjani, with the context of the Chennai Festival and the email to send.
Yeah, that will be lovely.
Yeah.
Anybody else doing anything fun? No, Evita is joining us from Storytelling Cafe. Rachel just had her solo exhibition in Hong Kong. She had a space where all of her artwork from her 20 years in Hong Kong was displayed. So there were watercolor paintings, there were cutouts that she's been doing, paper cutouts. There were birds made with fabric. They were dresses. There was just so much art that there was there.
I like it best when Niharika tells it. Also, I've got a screen in front of me that's pink, so I'm not actually sunburned. Yeah, it was a really awesome exhibition. Thank you, Erica, for
Brilliant.
mentioning that.
I am so jealous that I can't be in Hong Kong and be part of that. So
Yes.
You'll just have to wait until I bring it traveling to Europe.
that will be
Where did you say you were going to bring it?
Hmm?
Where did you say you were going to bring it? I'd love to see it too.
I'll bring it on a traveling tour in Europe.
Ooh, brilliant. Yes, yes. Come on, you're welcome.
yeah.
No, it's really fun. It was really good. I had an amazing time. I had an amazing amount of people just reach out and support, and it was beautiful. But I have been sitting here during this, and I apologize to the storytellers who went, Niharika and Debjani, because I'm sitting here and I'm trying to restring a necklace it's a word necklace, and I dropped it twice, and there's words all over the floor. So if you saw me going, oh, it wasn't you. Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you.
Lots of requests, Rachel, to share photos of your exhibition on the group chat.
Yes, also lots of requests for touring and coming to Europe or Canada. Probably you will bring it to Canada.
I will definitely bring it to Canada, Selena.
You must bring it to Italy, Rachel.
Okay. I'm up for the game. You got any good contacts for me?
And I'm sure you can make a story out of all those words you've picked off the floor.
Well, it is a story already. Yeah, Marrakesh.
Oh,
I'm
wonderful.
dead keen to do it in Marrakesh.
Yeah,
Well,
anywhere I can. Thank you.
great. Are there
Wonderful
any?
stories.
And
Wonderful
if you
stories.
agree, if you agree to Rachel's timing and you have to take a prior appointment from her and then sit before her, and then she will draw something and give it to you. But if you don't listen to her timing, then she will give you a beautiful handmade diary, but just blank. That's what she has done with me.
Well, you're supposed to fill it in yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you.
John, when
I
do your
really-
travels begin?
John, you are unmuted.
Yeah, but I didn't hear what was the question. Sorry.
John.
Oh, John. That's what I
John.
thought. It wasn't me. Yeah.
Sorry, I missed the question. I caught someone was asking me one, but what was the question?
When does your world tour begin?
Oh, mine. Well, it's only a few weeks, but I should, in theory, be in Chennai for the 13th, and then of February, and then later on that month, I'm going to go to Singapore and then Malaysia, or vice versa. But I'm sort of in the hands of the organisers, so I believe these things when I see the plane tickets arrive. I'm too old to take without getting without the plane tickets as a confirmation. But I'd be very excited because I've been to Malaysia before, but I've never been to Singapore, and I've never been to India. My children have, but I haven't. So it'd be great to be to India for the first time.
Dawn, I have to say, Dawn, this is Dawn, not John this time. I have to say, I was in Laos in 1998 and had quite a lot of adventures there as well.
Yeah.
It was an interesting place. I've never been back.
We must have a talk about it.
I felt
absolutely loved it.
everything you were saying.
No, I really loved it. I fell in love with the place completely. I was there for about 2 years. Yeah.
I was only there for
Is
about
that
3 months.
we close the live streaming. What do you think? And then we continue chat. We can continue.
Okay. Mm.
Who is doing it? Hello.
Evita.
Uh,
Hi, Walid.
hello. Hi, Olive.
They love to see you. They say, why are you always hiding?
Yeah.
Sometime Wallace is gonna tell a story. It's gonna happen.
One day.
Yes, hopefully. We are looking forward to it.
But do you guys miss that gorgeous wall in the background? That patterned wall.
Yes,
It is
very
so
gorgeous.
beautiful.
Yeah, for the people who have not been in the Marrakesh Storytelling Festival, this is the place, World Storytelling Cafe, and the walls are so beautiful, and I also miss to be there. Hopefully next year.
Yes.
Yeah. Those of you
We're
who haven't
talking
joined,
about
definitely.
it at the moment,
What?
but we don't know the exact date yet because we have to work it around school, because the schools have become a very important part of the festival. We saw 5,000 school children at the last festival. We want to make sure it doesn't clash with the half term, and the dates for the half term aren't published yet, so we can't we can't work out when the festival is going to be until we know what the schools are doing. But
What's
it's
it like in
well on its way.
Marrakesh?
It will be sort of towards the end of January.
What's it like in Marrakesh when it rains? I really want to
Very
know.
cold.
Yeah?
It's wet, very wet when it rains.
Thanks. That's really helpful.
Bodies of water
Usually,
forming everywhere.
usually it only rains for like a short time, but over the last few weeks, it's been the end of a 7-year drought. So
Oh, wow.
I've had some people who've gone over. It's rained all week long, but that's really, 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 really rare, and it's very, very welcome. My theory is that Evita, Mother Earth goddess, has brought the healing rain with her.
Does it go in the houses a lot? Because it's, I don't know. I'm just really curious. I want to know what it looks like when it rains there.
I don't think so. I've never heard of that happening. I mean, I guess in the mountains, if the houses don't have good roofs. I mean, the middle of a riad, it would go in there, but there are drains.
Right.
So,
Wow.
and if you've
Do
ever
people
been
like
in,
it or they dislike it?
they're happy for the farmers and for the land and for the wells that have been empty. So
It's just because we had our theme as water. That's it's really Sanam who's brought the water for you.
Yeah,
she's a little late.
In Turkish, we call rain rahmet. It comes from Arabic, and rahmet means God's grace. And mentioned it's really needed for for things to grow. So I'm glad that you are having it. We are having it here in Ireland non-stop.
All the time.
I mean, not all the time, but these 10 days, it's just, it keeps going.
Yeah. But perhaps, Sanam, it might transform us.
Yes.
So much water.
That's what we hope. By the way, I also
fish.
Raise again the theme about of next month. I don't have a specific theme in my mind. If you have some suggestions, they are all welcome.
How about love or unloved stories?
Sorry?
Stories about love or unlove.
Ooh, that's
February.
I have.
It's true. It's Valentine's. Yeah.
I have recently learned Rachel will know this, but I've just learned Galentine's Day, which is for singles who don't have partners. They celebrate their friendships and any other relationships in their life. So,
Brilliant.
Galentine's Day.
That's a really good idea. Yeah, Galentine's Day. I like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Female friendships, especially girls,
Yeah.
Galentine's.
Yeah.
love and unlove, I think friendships and romantic relationships, it has a bigger scale in my view.
Yeah,
I-
and if you do love and unlove, you can
Love
have both
love.
sides of the conversation.
Yeah. It's like connection with connections
The one-
between people.
The ones you landed and the ones that got away.
But I think also the love or unlove can apply to any relationship. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be a romantic one. It could be mother and child or sisters, brothers, or whatever,
Yeah.
friends.
Okay,
Puppies.
love relationships,
Plenty of scope.
What did you say, Senna? Just relationships?
loving relationships.
Yeah, I think love and unlove sounds much more funky.
Yeah, I think that's a better title. Yeah.
How
Yeah.
about
What
to
is
love or not
unlove?
to love?
What is unlove?
Ooh.
Oh, sorry.
You know, English is a flexible language, right? We can just put something on the front of it and it still makes sense, even if it's not really a word.
Is it just that you don't want to say hate?
Well, hate
Or
is
is
a
it
strong word in
losing?
the other direction.
Yeah.
Whereas love and unlove, I mean, I could tell a story about a boyfriend I had a long time ago. We're still really good friends, but I'm really glad that I'm not his girlfriend anymore.
I guess unlove is falling out of love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sounds
it's
like that.
love and lost love or something. Yeah.
I like
Mm.
unlove. It's,
Unlove.
Yeah.
I like the idea of words that don't exist. As Shakespeare,
Yeah.
Shakespeare found the language inadequate, so he invented thousands of words.
Well, it exists now. Rachel has said it. It's
Yeah.
been
So it
spoken.
exists.
So you've created a new word.
I try my best. It
Excited, Denise.
It sounds good.
was good to see you.
Yes.
That's okay.
I'm also gonna go for dinner, so I'm gonna drop off. But it's so lovely to see everyone and some of you after so long.
Yeah.
Very nice to see you. Thank you for the
Thank
story.
you, everybody.
Here also for your
Bye-bye.
stories and for the space.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
I'm going to head off too. Thank you. We'll see you
No.
again sometime soon. I need to go to bed.